This is a man's world. Mm, 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 Hi guys, my name is ZaZa and welcome back to my channel, Truth in Love. And I just wanted to come on and say hello, especially in light of the tragic recent events with Sarah Everard and Blessing Olusegun and countless other women who are either murdered, go missing, or befall some awful tragedy at the hands of someone else. You know, firstly, my thoughts and prayers are with their families. And it's really sad even that I have to come on and make a video about this, but it's clear that throughout, you know, the history of time, these things keep happening, especially in a society like the UK, you know, a pretty Western society where there have been many technological advances. There is still a heightened risk of sexual assault, of being murdered, of being vulnerable. The fact still remains, women are still more vulnerable. And I don't know if any of you guys are like me, but ever since I was a young child, I remember my parents, especially my mum, giving me advice about how to keep safe, what to look out for, what sort of things are going on in this society. And I just want to preface this video with the fact that if somebody has evil intent in their heart to harm someone else, no amount of advice and, you know, looking out for signs is going to protect a person. And that's why, as a Christian especially, I think this actually speaks to an issue much, much deeper. This is an issue of evil first beginning in our hearts, and it begins not out there but in here, evil within us. The heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? And that's why I believe every single one of us needs a new heart, and a heart that only God can give, to love other people, to care for them, to treat people like brothers and sisters, to look out for the community, to not just be self-focused but other-focused. But like I said, it's a heart issue, and only Jesus Christ and faith in him can give us one. So as a child especially, I remember never being allowed to go to a sleepover. And I know some of you watching might be like, what? Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go and stay around at my friends' houses until I was 16. So when I started school in year 7, there was a friend of mine who had a sleepover every single year for her birthday. And every year I had to come up with the same excuse: I'm not allowed. My mum says no. And I remember it was her 16th birthday and I said, look, Mum, every year I've had to decline this invitation. Why? I'm 16, I'm grown, you know these people, you know the family, you know the dad. Why can't I go? And I begged and I pleaded and I made my case. And my mum said, yes, sounds like you're allowed to go. And I don't know if this is just a Caribbean thing, I don't know. But my mum, especially my mum, my grandma, they've seen countless tragedies, especially perpetrated against children, against young women, you know, and as a result of that, my mum said, whatever I can do, I'm gonna do. So that included no sleepovers. And I suppose the idea behind that is, if your child is staying in someone's house, they're vulnerable. You know, if you don't know who's coming in and out, you don't know the father. And it's terrible that you'd even have to think that way. But you know, right or wrong, I just thank God that that hasn't been part of my story. But I know that some of my friends, it has been, and also some of you guys watching. And I just want to extend love and grace and just remind you that whatever has happened to you at the hands of someone else, it's not your fault. And there is a Father in heaven who loves us and who has healing, who has every single care towards us. He cares about justice. He cares about protection. And then beyond being a child, obviously the time where I was becoming of legal age, able to go out, drink alcohol. Yes, even as a Christian, I had a very wayward season where I was going out, drinking. So the advice was, if you want a drink, don't let someone else go and get it for you. Make sure you can see your drink being poured. If you have to go to the bathroom, leave your drink. And if it's still there when you come back, nobody take it up again because you don't know what is in it. You know, like if you see a group of guys cross over the road, walk with your keys in your knuckles. So if anyone tries anything, you could just blaps them in the face. If you see someone walking behind you, usually a man, you know, there's a trick where you stop, bend down and pretend to tie your shoelaces and then wait till the person walks past. And it's like all these sorts of things, they're good advice, but essentially they're assuming that these tactics will help save yourself should you get into a situation. And the reality is, if somebody has evil intent in their heart to do harm to someone else, no amount of, you know, wearing the right clothes, only exposing cleavage if you're going to do leg and vice versa, or bring your flat shoes so in case you need to run, you know, it's a lot easier. Other stuff like if you're coming home late, don't walk by yourself, like get a taxi, but don't just get any taxi. Make sure it's a licensed and registered taxi. But you know, even with all of this advice, you hear of stories like War Boys, the black cab rapist, and all these sorts of things. And I don't know again if it's a Caribbean thing, but my mum had a story about these young girls who set up their friend because they were jealous of her. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like you really have to be on guard, because surely if these are your friends, you should be able to trust them. I think it's really sad that we even have to think this way. And I would often accuse my mum of being paranoid, of being extra. But now that I'm getting older and I've seen a lot of the things that, although I was protected and shielded as an only child, have essentially, you know, worked in some way, shape or form. So in 2018, round about this time, I booked my first ever solo trip to Berlin.
This is my window seat. You don't have anybody to take the pictures of you, you just have to get creative. So this is the cathedral that you can see in the background. And it's very nice.
And obviously, coming from my background, my parents weren't too thrilled that I was planning on going by myself. But, you know, I made sure that I did all the checks and balances. I went to stay at Airbnb.
Airbnb for the week. This is actually better than my room at home.
This video is not sponsored. Your girl is not receiving any coins from Airbnb, although if you want to hook me up. Look, I don't necessarily recommend this for everybody, but Airbnb is good because it allows you to see the rating of every single homeowner. And because this was my first ever trip by myself, I thought it's best for me to stay with a woman. I just felt more comfortable. So I remember asking her, you know, who do you live with? Are there going to be men in your house? Like, is there a lock on the bedroom door? And I know this might sound crazy, but these are the things that would give me a sense of peace. So I was doing my post-production editing, and at this point of the video, one of my pigtails, as cute as she is, was making a bunch of noise on my clip-on mic, and I just couldn't let you guys suffer listening to rustling every 5 seconds. About a month before I went to Berlin, I quit drinking for good. So in my mind, that was like one less thing to worry about, because I wasn't about to be in a foreign country by myself out partying. Like, that just did not appeal to me. And obviously at the time I was trying to steer clear of excessive drinking. So yeah, finding myself in a bar it didn't seem wise at the time. So it was a no from me. And obviously a disclaimer, drinking alcohol is not a bad thing. Listen to me carefully. But the Bible does talk about Christians being sober and not getting drunk. So for me, I found that like the balance between enjoying a drink and getting drunk was very hard to find. So I just said, you know what? Me and drink, it's time to say goodbye. So my decision to give up drinking alcohol is often like a good way of starting a conversation. New people I meet almost always ask, why don't you drink, ZaZa? And it's a good way to, you know, speak about my journey, tell them about Jesus, and just like see where they're at. And obviously, if getting drunk is something that you enjoy freely and you are a Christian, if you are a Christian and you're living in a way that you know that God says is unacceptable, you know, you're getting drunk, you're having sex with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you're taking drugs, whatever it might be, you need to stop it now. You can't serve two masters. That's all I have to say. I love you. I want to just encourage you to really read what the Bible says about it. And I'd be happy to talk to you about my journey. You know, my details are below, like get in touch, you know what I mean? And even to this day, I kid you not, people who have known me, you know, for a long time will still ask me, ZaZa, are you still not drinking? And the answer is a firm no. I've got no plans to start drinking again. So the woman I went to stay with, I just knew that this was supposed to happen. We were supposed to meet. We had some great conversations about faith, her upbringing in the church, and, you know, just searching for truth and for answers. And when we left, she literally like gave me a massive hug and she was like, it's been so nice having you. It's like having a friend come and stay with me. And I was like, wow. Obviously, solo travel is not for everyone, but for me, it's just so nice to kind of get up and go, like explore a new city. And you know, sometimes when you go on holiday with people, you have to wait till they're ready. You all have to decide, you know, what you're doing together. Whereas solo travel, once I'm up, once I'm ready, you know, I get myself together and we move. And I'm quite an outgoing person anyway. I speak French and Spanish, so I often go to like meetups and language exchanges and just chat to people, innit? I went to a random meetup for German speakers in the park and I made a friend. Now go to dinner. Hashtag solo travels. Or go and play board games or something like that. You know, and all those like social stigmas about eating alone, especially as a woman in a restaurant, a fancy restaurant, just bin them, chuck them out, honey, bin them. You know, are there things that we can do as women to feel and be safer and make better choices? Yes, absolutely. But essentially, all of these things are not like danger proof. And if a woman chooses not to do them, then she's not inviting danger into her life. The fault lies solely with the perpetrator. And as I said earlier on in the video, the issue starts at a heart level. And I believe that being given a new heart and a new spirit that helps you to love other people, because our Creator and God, Jesus Christ, is love. You know, that's the only solution. You know, and guys know what is inappropriate. So say if there was a guy and he starts talking about his best friend's mum or his sister or his auntie in a derogatory way, like he knows that that's totally inappropriate. So I would ask the question, why is it okay to then speak about a woman that you don't know in that way? Oh, I don't care about her, so I can just, you know, speak anyhow, treat her anyhow, like.
Hello, baby.
And I think that as a community of people, we can look out for one another. Seeing a woman as precious and valuable does come from a biblical worldview when you understand that men and women are created in God's image, and to see that every single person comes from intelligent design from a loving creator. So it's then easier to be a community, to look after people that you don't know, to look out for humankind, and shout out to the guys who are listening to this woman's experience, and hopefully this will give you an insight. And I hope that this video would also help us to just be honest about the evil within, because it's so much easier to point it out when it's out there, but a lot harder to be self-reflective and see that, what, although I've not done something awful like murder someone, like, bruv, there's evil in me. And even if you're not a Christian and you haven't received this new heart that ZaZa's talking about, that is the solution to the problem of evil. Although we are created in God's image, we chose to rebel against God and go our own way. God is love, and love involves justice. Our crimes deserve punishment, eternal death. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, fully God and fully man, took the punishment in our place. Out of love for us sinners, he died the death we deserve for the sins of the world and came back from the dead 3 days later, according to the scriptures, proving he is God and King. All who put their trust in him are forgiven and made into a new creation, given a new heart and a new spirit, the gift of eternal life. Because you are created in God's image, there are attributes of God that many people reflect without even knowing him. The absolute totality of this love, this joy, this peace, this freedom, this hope is in knowing God through his son Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please click like, share, comment, subscribe, send this to your men friends, send this to your woman friends, send this to everybody there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Without a woman or a girl, yeah.